Do you feel as though you've been guided to write? In this podcast, I share some of my writer's journey with you and read some excerpts from one of my books on how I was guided to leap into my story. This is from my second memoir, Trial by Fire, Chapter 22, Mastering the Paradox. "I booked the trip to Hawaii," I said when he walked in. He was stunned, as though he couldn't believe that I did it. "Great, honey. When do we go?" "I need to get my stuff in order. Who's going to take care of the animals?" "Honey, I booked the flight for myself. Remember I had that feeling that I'm the only one who's supposed to go?" "Fine," he said and stormed out of the living room. Normally, I would have been rattled by his temper tantrum. But since booking the trip felt right, I was pretty calm, a rarity. A couple days later, I had a dream about the flight. In the dream, I almost missed the plane, and I got on just in time. The seats were blue, and it appeared that I was in first class. A tall, slender man with graying hair, a long face, and wire-rimmed glasses, wearing a blue pinstripe shirt, was sitting next to me. When I sat down, he said, "We've been waiting for you." In the dream, I'm puzzled by this remark. I also had a feeling that there may be a slight mechanical problem on the plane. Then I woke up. My excitement about going on this trip was now replaced by the anxiety of possibly dying on this trip. I began to question the dreams and my decision. What if I was wrong? What if I interpreted everything all wrong? And I've wasted $1,100 and possibly my life. 4 days before my trip, I had another disturbing dream where my dead mother was pointing to the left side of her face, her teeth exposed. I woke up worrying about the flight again because my mother had always associated teeth with death. The next day I was slightly relieved when I came down with a mild sinus infection in that area. My mother was warning me to take care of that before I got on the plane. 2 days before the trip, I experienced a few more bizarre incidents. A lady on the John Edwards show got a reading from John about a dead relative. But the message sounded like it was for me. John started the reading by saying, "I'm getting a maternal feeling. Has your mother crossed over?" "Yes, she has," the lady in the audience replied. "Do you have a brother named Eddie?" "Yes." "Your mother wants to tell your brother Eddie hello, and he says your sister's going to Hawaii." I almost fell out of my chair. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that reading was for me, especially since my brother's name is Eddie. That wasn't the only weird thing that happened watching the show. I questioned why I had to go to Hawaii. Then I got an answer. A voice said, "To write a book." "To write a book? What book? Me? How could I write a book in 3 days?" Then the voice said, "You're not going to write the entire book, just an outline." I thought for a brief moment to get more answers. "What would I write about?" I asked. "Your story," the voice said. "My story? Who would want to read my story?" "Everyone." I still wasn't sure if this was a real conversation, so I said, "What is the name of this book?" Mastering the paradox, the internal voice replied. Mastering the paradox? Now I must be imagining things. There's already a book called that. I used it in college for my computer classes. The voice interrupted my thoughts with, no, that's called mastering paradox. I turned my chair around to face the bookcase that was near me and quickly scanned my books. The Mastering Paradox book was in the middle row. I sat there, staring at the book. Paradox. It must mean something other than a computer program. I was vaguely familiar with the term paradox, but I wasn't exactly sure what it meant. I headed for the pocket dictionary in the office and looked at the meaning of paradox. It said, a situation that opposes itself. Huh? What the hell does that mean? I decided to look it up on an online dictionary. It was noted on dictionary.com as a statement or a situation that seems self-contradictory or absurd, but in the reality expresses a possible truth. The voice gave me one more clue. It said that Mastering the Paradox would be the third book, but the most important one of 3. 3 books? What were the other 2 going to be called? I sat there wondering as it swirled around my head. I wanted to hear more from this voice, but it was silent. It stopped just when I was craving more. What did this all mean? What did the trip to Hawaii fit into everything? I was about to find out. I want to thank you for tuning in to this podcast episode. If you'd like to find out more about the podcast or my other books, you can go to leapintoyourstory.com. And if you're interested in purchasing any books, you can go to amazon.com under VP Andersen.
Thank you for tuning into the Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, break down the process, and meet others who've done it so you can leap into your own story. Remember to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're there, subscribe and like to us via your favorite social media network. We're looking forward to seeing you next time on the Leap Into Your Story podcast.